What is up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast live from Mobile. At least Rob and I are.
Yeah.
I'm back in Illinois.
Yeah, Jimmy's having a great time.
Absolutely.
It's like 70 degrees here, Jimmy.
It's like 30 here.
I wouldn't go that far, but
It feels
it's
like
nice.
70
it's
with
nice.
the sun.
Yes, it's nice.
I probably got burnt today, by the way. But anyways, yeah. So we got a lot to talk about. Conference championship games as well as the Senior Bowl. Let's dive into it. Go Birds, baby. Go Birds. Massive win for the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, 55-23. Most wins in Eagles history, 17. They broke the tie. It was 16 previously. But yeah, this was complete domination. They've done this now 3 straight NFC Championship games in Philadelphia. Sorry, Jimmy. PTSD. Vikings in 2017 when they won the Super Bowl.
Don't have to remind me.
To the Vikings. They did it to the 49ers 2 years ago as well when Brock Purdy got hurt. This one, no one got hurt on the Commander side except Sam Cosmi, but that didn't happen in this game. And Jalen Carter, actually, he was a good force, but I think that the exterior pressure got to Jaden Daniels more than the interior did. Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, and those guys had great days. Jordan Davis actually had a couple of excellent plays in this game, pushing the pocket, just dominating up front, especially in the run game. But, yeah, I mean, Philadelphia looks like a complete team. I'm shocked that they are underdogs in the Super Bowl on the opening line. Yeah, 1.5-point dogs is what it opened at.
I'm not surprised, honestly. As good as the Eagles are, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Are the two-time defending champs.
Do they really want
it is? It is what it is.
They really want the Eagles to bring out the dog masks for the Super Bowl.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles won the game, but I also feel like the Chiefs are on a mission to do something special. I'll just leave it at that. But you're an Eagles fan and I'm not, so maybe that's where the bias comes in. But whatever.
My stuff is on the way, Jimmy. My hat and my T-shirt. It's coming. Probably tomorrow. It'll be at my house. But anyways, yeah, Jaden Daniels, magical season. More than likely going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Again, Jimmy and I hate it. I don't know how you feel, Rob, about Brock Bowers versus Jaden Daniels. Brock Bowers should win it, right, Jimmy? Right?
I think Jaden Daniels should win it, but it's very close. So I actually disagree with you on that.
But yeah, excellent run for the Commanders. Year early. They were never supposed to be in this position this soon. 60.4%, 255 touchdown and a pick, 6 carries, 48 yards, a rushing touchdown as well. Thought that was going to help me. It did not. I'll talk about why in the AFC Championship game. Tress Way also completing fake punt for 23 yards. I thought that was going to be a key turning point in the game. Ended up not mattering, luckily. But, yeah, Jalen Hurts came into this game. Criticism. Oh, was his knee going to be good? His knee was just fine. He didn't run a lot, but it didn't matter. He threw the ball very well. 20 of 28, 71.4%, 246 touchdown, 10 carries, 16 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns as well in the day. Just unstoppable. Jalen Hurts was fantastic in this game. And he has been in his career. It's people bag on Jalen Hurts, people bag on Nick Sirianni, but what do? They win football games.
They do. We can't argue that.
And that's why I love Jalen coming out of Alabama. It's Alabama, Oklahoma, I should say. But that's all he did. It's all he did in college was win. So that's why I loved him. That's why I wanted him from the Steelers. But
yeah,
he went on the eastern side of the state instead. Saquon, I mean, again, the ESPN posed this question: are we witnessing the greatest running back season in NFL history? He has the second most rushing yards in NFL history total between the postseason and regular season combined. But I mean, I hate that the the MVP is regular season vote. I know he was your pick, Jimmy. He was your pick when we did our awards picks for from the finalists that were announced. But I don't know. Are we witnessing the greatest running back season in NFL history?
Depends on the Super Bowl.
I still think he would win MVP if he had more touchdowns.
I think it's very close. The only thing that I would go against is the quality of the offensive line that Saquon is under compared to. I mean, I don't know who has the record. Dickerson, right?
Yeah, Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, I don't know what the line was like for Eric Dickerson back then, so that's going to be hard to compare. And it was also a different time. You know, they were running the ball a lot more back then than they are now with a more pass-heavy scheme. So that's something that you could argue for Saquon. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure who has the record overall season yards combined, but Saquon probably going to break it. I would think with his Super Bowl performance, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, another 100-yard game, 15 carries, 118, 3 touchdowns, 4-yard reception. He's a beast. He's a beast, and he's pretty unstoppable. Doesn't even matter who plays O-line. We saw Landon Dickerson was a starting center in this game.
He played fantastic.
Tyler Steen, the starting left guard. Dickerson hurt his knee. Cam Jurgens comes in the game with a bum back and plays excellent.
Yeah, fantastic.
And
fantastic
it didn't matter.
Performance. Fantastic.
So, yeah, I was very impressed with the Eagles' interchangeability at center, even though Dickerson had played center most of his career at Alabama. But, you know, they were able to get it done regardless of who was playing at the pivot. How about Will Shipley? Got to give a shout out to Will Shipley, rookie running back, 3rd rounder out of Clemson, or 4th round. I can't remember. Fourth rounder. Ripped off a big gain and then punctuated it with his first career touchdown. How one way to do it in the NFC Championship game. That's wild.
That was a special moment for sure. Not only for him, but for Saquon too. The type of teammate he is and all that type of stuff. It was really cool to see that, no doubt.
Yeah, unfortunately, it came at he was in there. Once they pulled Saquon because Kenneth Gainwell got injured. So Shipley was the number 2 back then. But Washington, they couldn't run the ball. Eagles defense did a great job. Brian Robinson, 3.3 yards per carry. Their leading non-quarterback runner there. How about Zach Ertz against his former team? 100-yard performance. He was Washington's really only receiving threat. 16 targets, caught 11 for 104. Terry McLaurin did score a touchdown, but he only caught 3 of his 7 targets. And that was because the shutdown play of Quinyon Mitchell, Darius Slay, and the entire Eagles secondary really dominated, working in tandem well with the pass rush up front. A.J. Brown got a touchdown there. And defensively, I got to go with the rookie, man. The Quinyon Mitchell was excellent. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 pass defense. The game-sealing interception, I thought, anyways, when they were up. I think it was 3 scores. And he picked that one in the end zone, which was a ridiculous catch, by the way. But also got to shout out Zach Bond, tackling machine, up for Defensive Player of the Year this year. So, yeah. And I guess I'll talk about Frankie Luvu as well, Mr. Offside, as he jumped over the pile twice to try to stop the brotherly shove. And the Eagles finally put it down at the about half-inch line and got the ball in pretty easily after that. But he actually jumped offside again on an extra point as well.
Didn't the ref say something about it too? I don't remember exactly what it was, but they said something. It was funny. It was something like that.
It wasn't him the 3rd time. It was someone else. They jumped off 3 straight times.
Right.
And if he would have done it a 3rd time, he would have gotten a penalty, personal foul. But if Washington would have done it again, the Eagles would have got a touchdown out of it without having to actually score. Yeah.
It's fair. That's a weird rule.
Yeah, in the rule.
That's a weird rule.
The Eagles covered -6.5. and over 47.5. A lot of points. Eagles hit the over by themselves. A lot of points on conference championship weekend. Let's go to the AFC here. Chiefs beating the Bills 32-29. Logan and I were correct, by the way. Logan and I correctly picked the Super Bowl from championship weekend, Eagles Chiefs. It was Logan and I versus John and Jimmy. They both had the underdogs, Washington and Buffalo.
So did I. I also like Washington Buffalo.
But Taylor's voodoo magic worked one more time, Jimmy.
It'll never stop.
And it got done. And the thing is, the Bills had opportunities. The Bills had plenty of opportunities. I hate Josh Allen. Just saying, I have flipped, Jimmy. I'm rooting for Lamar to win MVP because of what Josh Allen did to me. Josh Allen did me dirty. He did. Him and Joe Brady. I would have won $1,000, Jimmy, had Josh Allen ran the football into the end zone.
If only.
And I never thought, out of the 4 quarterback anytime touchdown parlay, that Josh Allen would be the guy to do it. And Mahomes had 2. Mahomes could have given Allen one of his.
He did have 2.
He could have given Allen one of his. He had 2. Why doesn't it work like that?
What do you add to Mahomes scoring 2 touchdowns, like rushing, right?
I knew Mahomes.
He does it all.
Mahomes, I thought, would be the issue, but he scored pretty early in the second quarter there, rushing wise.
Yeah, he does it all.
But yeah, I mean, Chiefs win another AFC championship. Was it 6? 6 for Mahomes? 5?
It's got to be 5 or 6, yeah, because
I think it's 5.
They've been to the Super Bowl.
This is the 5th. Yeah, I think it's 5 AFC championship wins for Mahomes. They've been to the AFC championship 7 times.
They lost to Brady once.
Yeah,
but that was Tampa. That was a Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think that was Tampa.
But they've been to the AFC championship 7 times. They've been to the last 7.
Very impressive.
And they've hosted They've hosted 6 of those 7. The only one was a couple years ago when the Ravens, I think it was the Ravens or some, I forget who it was. I looked it up before. I don't remember.
Some other team.
Yeah. Oh no, the Bengals. Yeah, the Bengals.
That's right. When they played the Rams, and then Rams beat them.
Yeah, the Bengals beat them in that one. But anyways, 3 straight Super Bowl appearances, going for the 3-peat for Kansas City. And this was like back-to-back weeks of like, dude, tight ends got railroaded on social media. Mark Andrews 2 weeks ago dropping the ball against the Buffalo Bills to send it to overtime on 2-point conversion. And this week it was Dalton Kincaid got absolutely hammered on social media. To be honest, though, I think social media was right. I mean, not the threatening messages, but the ones that say, yeah, you need to catch the freaking ball, man. Like, you could not have asked for a better ball from Josh Allen under duress like that. It hit you right in the hands and the chest. Like, Dalton Kincaid, you have to catch the ball, man. It's game on the line. But also, as we saw, the refs did their thing in Chiefs games and did not award the Bills first downs that they should have when there was video evidence that the ball clearly went past the first down marker on the Josh Allen QB sneak. Just saying, it's there. Look it up. One other thing, though, in this game was, dude, like, what was Joe Brady doing? The QB sneak obviously was not working to the left. The Chiefs were putting Chris Jones and Mike Dana on the right side of the defense because they knew the Bills ran it to the left every single time. You didn't want to change it to the right just one time or run a sweep maybe to one of the backs off of that. There's no creativity, no changing from Joe Brady, I guess. Jimmy, what you got for this game?
I got nothing much. I didn't get to watch any of these games, so I was actually in Chicago with my family, so I didn't get to watch any. But yeah, that was Bills are gonna bill, man. Right, like the Vikings of the AFC. Let's be real. So how are we shocked at all?
That's actually a really good point to think about.
Except the Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls, Jimmy.
The Vikings lost 4 Super Bowls, so both of these teams have 4 losses.
It's really
But the Vikings didn't
Jimmy,
go to
that's
4 straight.
Never thought of it. Never thought of it that way, Jimmy.
The Vikings didn't go to 4 straight, though.
Close enough.
I still don't understand how you go 4 times in a row and don't win a single one. And only one of them was close.
Oh yeah,
It's wild. But anyways,
Right.
into the stats here. Mahomes 69.2%, 245 touchdown, 11 carries, 43 yards, 2 touchdowns and a fumble. Career high postseason rushing total for Mahomes. Josh Allen 64.7%, 237, 2 touchdowns, 11 carries, 39 yards. I hate you. He should have scored a rushing touchdown. I hate you. James Cook. That's the one thing, though, the Bills could run the ball. They ran it very effectively. Cook, Ty Johnson, Ray Davis, all of them ran the ball well. Even Josh Allen is 3 point. I guess that's not good. 3.3 yards per carry. But anyways, or whatever it is. I don't know. I can't do the math right now in my head. But yeah, James Cook led the game in rushing, 85 yards, 13 carries, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches, 49 yards. He had a great game in the loss. Xavier Worthy led the game in receiving, caught 6 of his 7 targets, 85 yards, touchdown. He's having a hell of a year in his second season. Or second, is it still a rookie? No, second season, right? Rookie. I lose track of time, Jimmy. We're getting too old for this. And defensive player of the game, I'm going to go with Mike Dana there. 4 tackles, 2 solos, sack, tuck, floss, 2 QB hits. But how about the rookie? How about Cole Bishop filling in for the injured Taylor Rapp? All he did is lead the game in tackles. 10 tackles, 9 of them solos. I thought he did a pretty good job on Travis Kelce. I mean, we don't see Kelce on the board here.
Yeah, also to add to that, Karlaftis, I think when he got drafted, everybody was kind of questioning him. And, he's proven everybody wrong, I feel like. And, I mean, I never doubted him personally. However, I feel like there was a lot of people who did. And I feel like, you're really showing, he's really showing his value, not only from this season, but, these last 2 seasons combined. He's really shown his value and why he was worth that high draft pick when they took him. I believe they took him at the end of the first round, right? He was a first round draft pick.
I think it was 32nd overall.
Yeah, anyway, I think he's really – he's not playing like a 32 overall pick right now. He's playing much higher than that, in my opinion. So they definitely got their value. Their money's worth on that pick.
The Chiefs covered by the hook, -2.5, over 49.5, 61 points. They said a lot of points. AFC or Championship Sunday. No breaking news. Let's go to college football news here. Couple things. One draft declaration out of the national championship teams. Notre Dame safety Xavier Watts is into the draft. Excellent player. I don't remember where he is ranked on some of the top guys' boards, but definitely a top 5 safety for sure. Great tackler and can cover the deep stuff as well. Coaching carousel news. I know you love this, Jimmy.
This is very interesting.
Penn State has hired Ohio State defensive coordinator Jim Knowles to the same position, filling the shoes left by Tom Allen when he got hired by Clemson. Comes off number 1 nationally ranked defense and a national championship. Comes to the other side of the Ohio-Pennsylvania rivalry. Even though it's not a rivalry. It's not a rivalry in terms of the Big Ten. Ohio State, Penn State is not a protected rivalry, but just saying. I still think this is the dumbest thing ever. Penn State doesn't have any protected rivalries. It's stupid. Anyways, Jimmy, go your Ohio State thoughts there.
Yeah, this is a tough loss for Ohio State. I had heard news that Jim Knowles had intended to come back, but I'm guessing Penn State swooped in with a better offer. Penn State's getting a really good defensive mind here. And Penn State's a team that already has a very good defensive unit, and adding a really good defensive mind to that team. This will only help Penn State with Drew Auer coming back next year. I think Penn State could be a team to watch next year in the Big Ten and in the college football playoffs.
I don't like it. I don't like the hype. We don't need that. We need Penn State to lay under the radar. It's not. I know it's not going to happen. They're going to be like a top 5 probably preseason team, which is going to be annoying because they've never really been that high. They're usually at the bottom of the top 10 preseason. But yeah, I'm super excited. You can say what you want about James Franklin, but boy, does that man know how to hire defensive coordinators. Brent Pry, Tom Allen, and now Jim Knowles. And Manny Diaz as well. The last 4 defensive coordinators have just been absolute fire hires. We don't need to talk about his offensive coordinator hires, except for this year. Andy Kotelnicki was fantastic this season for Penn State. Let's go to UFL news. A lot of movement in the UFL as we are about 2 months from kickoff. As far as I remember, it's March 30th is the first game of the 2025 UFL season. The Arlington Renegades getting some massive offensive boosts back this year. The quote-unquote King of Spring is back in Arlington, quarterback Luis Perez. He will be back to man Bob Stoops' offensive unit. And he's got his top 2 wide receivers back with him this year as well, Javonte Payton and Deontay Burnett, both re-signing in Arlington. Michigan Panthers getting their defensive leader back. They re-signed linebacker Frank Ginda after his stint with the Falcons this year. Excellent tackling machine there. Memphis Showboats, they signed former Pittsburgh Maulers defensive back Mark Gilbert, won a UFL championship as a member of the Stallions last year, now goes to Memphis. And the San Antonio Brahmas bringing in former 3rd-round pick of the Cleveland Browns, Greedy Williams, at defensive back there. So interesting signing for San Antonio and Wade Phillips' squad. NFL news, we have the draft dates for Pittsburgh next year. 2026 NFL draft held in Pittsburgh. It's going to be April 23rd to the 25th. I might have to go, Jimmy. You might have to meet me there. Pittsburgh's not too far. You can make it.
Yeah, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, it's only like 4 hours for me. So
yeah, about triple that for me.
No, it's not.
At least double, 8 hours. Because I know Cleveland for me is like 6.
It takes me 8 hours to get to Indianapolis.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna look it up right now. Because now I need to settle this argument.
It's all I-80. You just run that straight across.
Pittsburgh from here, it is
10.
7 hours 58 minutes.
Oh my goodness! Come on.
That's awful.
Hey, you can do that. That's
no,
easy.
I don't wanna.
Yeah, you do.
No,
It's worth it.
Dude, going to the draft is fantastic.
Never been, but I want
This
to go.
would be my second
Yeah.
one. And I've only been to Pennsylvania drafts. So, the one in Philadelphia in 2017 was awesome.
I feel like I lost my window. Hopefully, one day I'll be at in a draft room rather than at the event, but we'll see.
Yeah. Interesting rule change potentially coming for 2025. Replay assist could be expanding to quarterback slide plays. I know Patrick Mahomes has been a big controversy about him sliding late. As I feel like generally the whole league has been having an issue with QB sliding late and then players getting flagged. And it's like, yeah, but the defender didn't really have a choice because of how late this QB slid. And it's like, I think it'll be interesting. I'm hoping it doesn't turn into the pass interference fiasco, though. We're not going to have challenges for this, right? But replay assist could overturn a penalty or I think they can only overturn a penalty. So I think it would be okay as long as it doesn't take long, which I feel like replay assist so far that it has been a thing has been pretty brief. So we have fashion. We love our fashion on here, and we have the colors for the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are wearing white, and the Eagles are wearing their green jerseys, which I'm very happy about. The Eagles have worn green all postseason, so I'm very excited that they are continuing to wear green in the Super Bowl.
What determines who's home for that? Is it?
It flips every year.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Jimmy, can you see though? The Chiefs have won the last 2 Super Bowls wearing red, though. Correct? I'm pretty sure.
No, I think they wore white in the one against the
Storm?
Eagles.
I don't know.
I hear you guys both typing at the same time. That's funny.
Oh yeah, they wore white against the Eagles in 2023.
Oh boy.
Oh, they wore red last year though.
They wore red against the 49ers.
Yeah.
I think they wore red against the 49ers
Eagles in
both times.
57, and they wore red against the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just saying. But again, like I said, Eagles have worn green all postseason, so I love it. I love that they're wearing green. We love our fashion on here. And Jimmy, I know you want to talk about this. The Browns GM Andrew Berry coming out today at his Senior Bowl press conference saying they have no plans to even listen to trade offers for defensive end Myles Garrett.
I mean, it makes sense. He's your franchise player. He still has at least half a decade, maybe more, of peak efficiency. I don't see any offer that would make sense for the Browns to take to trade him away.
I am opposite on that. I don't know why you wouldn't listen. If someone brings in 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett, I would highly consider it. Because what are you doing with Myles Garrett? Like, you're not doing anything. You haven't been in the playoffs since 2020 with Baker Mayfield, and having 6 first-round picks the next 3 drafts combined, plus the number 2 overall pick this year, that would just be – you'd be able to turn around the Cleveland Browns franchise if you hit on those picks.
Yeah, the key word is if, but we can look at other teams that have traded away good players and haven't got any value in the first round picks they got back. I think the biggest one I'm thinking of right now is when the Giants made the trade with the Bears, when the Bears wanted to get Justin Fields, and they got a first round pick next year, and it turned out to be Evan Neal, and he sucks. So you're still trading Myles Garrett, who is the best defensive player in the NFL, for what is essentially lottery tickets to teams that are probably going to be in the playoffs. So at best, they're the 16th overall pick. At worst, 32nd. I don't think you're going to get equivalent value. Now, if this was multiple top 10 picks, maybe there's an argument. But I don't trust the Browns to draft well with those picks. I don't expect them to get great value in those picks compared to what Myles Garrett can provide and already does provide. It's just that's where I'm at in this trade. I don't think you could get even close to equivalent value, and I don't see this being like a Herschel Walker trade. I just don't.
Yeah, I somewhat agree with you. I think the only thing that I'll add to that is, you're taking a big risk if you're the Browns if you do that. You really are. But at the same time, is the risk worth it for the Browns, who they haven't been to the playoffs since what year? 2020.
2020.
And they haven't really done much the past couple years. So at this point, it's like, screw it, like, take a risk. You know what I mean? That's the only reason why I would argue for it, because you need to do something with your organization. You can't just stay stagnant. I just that's my opinion.
I think it's a next year.
I think
they should
next
trade
year
it
would
next
make
year
next
when
year would
Kevin
make more
Stefanski
sense.
is no longer the head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Oh,
I still don't know how he is this year. How he stayed in Cleveland. I still don't understand how he still has a job in Cleveland after the whole fiasco in Week 18. I would not have done that. Anyways, let's go to GM carousel. The Jets have their head man. They hired Broncos assistant GM Darren Mugie. I believe he'd been with Denver for quite a while. I don't know too much about him, but the Jets have their guy to pair with Aaron Glenn going forward. And the Titans, Mike Berganzi, getting an all-star squad together there in Tennessee in the front office. They hired two former Raiders GMs, Dave Ziegler to the assistant GM role, and
big time.
Reggie McKenzie to a senior scouting role as well. And they have hired, I believe he was former Titans assistant GM, Chad Brinker,
Sounds familiar.
I think he was with the Dolphins as well before. But yeah, I mean, Mike Borgonzi's putting together a solid staff there in Tennessee for the team that's on the clock already.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching carousel, I'm very excited. I love when we see people move around the NFL here. First one that's not moving. He is staying put. Bills offense coordinator Joe Brady, I hate you. Pulled out of the Saints head coach search. Why could you just not be a good boy and go to New Orleans, Joe? You won a national championship there with LSU. We don't need this Kellen Moore to New Orleans talk here on this show, right? That's not what we need. By the way, the Saints did fly to Philadelphia yesterday, interviewed Kellen Moore for an in-person interview there. So please hire Mike McCarthy. Thank you. Speaking of Mike McCarthy's old team, the Cowboys have his replacement. They promoted offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer to the head coach position, 4-year deal. I LOL'd for real. Like, I literally chuckled out loud.
Didn't we talk about this and just how bad Schottenheimer?
We talked about it was a possibility last show, but over the weekend they actually did it. Yeah. And it's just like, bro. Good job, Jerry. Love you,
Jerry boy. Don't worry, his next hire is the best one yet.
No, I was talking to Rob about this. I think it's a 2026 thing. I think Shoddy's going to be a 1-year rental there, and Coach Prime is going to be hired next season. I think Jerry's going to convince him next season. Excuse me. I really do. I don't know. He talked to him. He talked to him this coaching cycle. Deion decided to stay at Buffalo or at Colorado. They are the Buffaloes, but yeah, I think that I think Deion's going to be the head coach 2026. Mark it down right now. The Cowboys also Schottenheimer got his defensive coordinator set here. It is former Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. I mean, what a pairing! What a pairing! Matt Eberflus and Brian Schottenheimer. That's going to be quite the duo. I don't know who they're getting for their offensive coordinator yet, or they're promoting from within. But I don't know. I think that's hilarious. The Cowboys are going to be quite the show this year.
Yeah. Do you think Matt Eberflus is bringing the timeout he held on to in Thanksgiving game?
Yeah. He's going to walk in with a shirt that says timeout.
Timeout.
The 49ers have hired a familiar face. Former Jets head coach Robert Saleh is back in San Fran as defense coordinator where he started. That's where he got hired from the Jets, or to the Jets from was the DC's position with San Francisco. So Saleh back on the West Coast under Kyle Shanahan. The Lions, they have their 2 new coordinators replacing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. They promoted linebackers coach Kelvin Shepard, 8-year NFL veteran, to defensive coordinator, and they hired Broncos pass game coordinator Johnny Morton as offensive coordinator. Had worked in Detroit before, and now back as the offensive coordinator. Again, Morton's a guy I don't know a lot about, but Kelvin Shepard, pretty solid player in his career. The John Seahawks got their guy. They hired Saints offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak to the same position. So, yeah, we'll see. I think Kubiak's an interesting one because, the Saints we were all wowed after the first 2 weeks of the season where they absolutely obliterated their first 2 opponents, put 50-plus the first 2 games on the Panthers and the Cowboys. It's like, bro, what happened? Like, obviously, Derek Carr got hurt for a majority of the season, but at the same time, even when he was in there after week 2, it just was not the greatest. The Bears, Ben Johnson has his coordinators. He hired former Saints head coach Dennis Allen as defensive coordinator and Broncos tight ends coach Declan Doyle as offensive coordinator. Jimmy, you and I should probably feel like shit, and I do. when you look up how old Declan Doyle is, because he's the same age as me.
Oh God.
He's 28 years old, born in the same year, 1996. Represent. Yeah, the man has become a coordinator in the NFL after just 9 years as a student assistant at Iowa, an assistant coach. I forget where his second stop was, and then the Broncos tight ends coach for last 2 seasons. So yeah, he has been a fast riser, to say the least. And maybe Ben Johnson has found himself a little bit younger, just a little bit younger version of himself, because Ben Johnson ain't that old either. Ben Johnson also bringing another Lions guy with him, hiring Lions wide receivers coach Antoine Randall as the assistant head coach and the wide receivers position coach for the Bears as well. So it's gonna be must see TV. Bears versus Lions this year.
Yeah.
A couple coordinator searches here. The Bucks, they interviewed for their offensive coordinator, Chargers pass game coordinator Marcus Brady, and Rams tight ends coach pass game coordinator Nick Caley. The Jags defensive coordinator job, they interviewed Raiders defensive coordinator Patrick Graham and Vikings pass game coordinator Durante Jones. Jimmy.
Fuck off, Jags. He's my guy. I don't want anyone leaving the staff this year. They're great.
And for the Texans offensive coordinator position, this is the first interview I'm hearing from Houston. They interviewed Buccaneers QB's coach Thad Lewis, former NFL quarterback himself. So. All right, that's all the news I have. I don't see anything else on the X feed here. So
It's time to talk some Senior Bowl.
we gotta do pick standings first. We have just one game left to pick, but obviously that will actually no. These are final. I should say we don't have any Monday picks left. My bad. These are the final pick standings. Look at Logan running away with it.
Way to go, Rusty. Great job.
I did so fantastic.
What the hell?
Because it's not my fault. The CFP didn't play the way I wanted it to, and I had to pick teams that I wouldn't necessarily pick because there was another team in Scarlet and Gray that I would never pick in my lifetime. But yeah, Logan completely dominated. Obviously, John didn't pick because he doesn't pick college. Only started picking the CFP on here. So, but yeah, Logan ended up 71.4% win percentage there. The only person to win not one, but two. He won 2 lone wolves. He had the only 2 lone wolf wins on the Monday show, even though we're on Tuesday today. But yeah, John just edged you out, Jimmy. Even with the win, you still fell 0.1 of a percentage point short there for second place. 67.4 to 67.3%. And we don't need to talk about what percentage I got.
It ain't great.
It does start with a 5. So there you go. Anyways, congrats, Logan. I think he won the regular season and postseason Monday show pick standings. All right. Senior Bowl week. Actually, hold on, give me a sec. Let's go to Senior Bowl talk here. And for those who didn't see, make sure you check out the podcast on all our socials, really on Instagram. We did Instagram Live for our national team practice recap for today. So we're going to talk mostly about the American team. But before we do that as well, I want to talk about injury updates. Texas A&M defensive lineman Shamar Turner bowing out of the Senior Bowl. Stress fracture in his foot.
Dang.
Had to get a rod inserted, I think, initially, and out about 3 to 4 weeks. But he said he'll do interviews at the combine, and then he will eventually work out again at his pro day. So yeah, I kept getting confused. I did not realize that Texas A&M had 2 Shamar defensive linemen because we watched Shamar Stewart today. He had a pretty good day. That's one guy I'll talk about in a second. But Jimmy, I don't know if you had any hopes coming into the Senior Bowl, or if you're watching anyone from the Vikings perspective, or if you got to watch any practice today on TV.
No, I haven't got the chance. I'm just kind of letting it fly, kind of following you along on social media, seeing what there is to see.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to talk about the American squad because we already recapped the national team practice.
Do we want to at
on
least
Instagram?
Do we at least want to go over again, like what who our winners were, real quick, like 2 seconds, just like so whoever didn't listen can know who our winners were. I can start. I have it up.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Jimmy, I picked. There's 4 guys that I liked today from the national team that I thought performed very well. The first one was Taylor Elgersma. Thank you for the pronunciation. The Canadian quarterback. I think he outperformed basically almost every single quarterback at the Senior Bowl today. In my opinion, his footwork was really good. His mental processing was also very good today. So that's someone that I would keep an eye on, not only throughout the rest of the Senior Bowl, but in this draft process as well. And then 2 Miami guys I really liked. The wide receiver Xavier Restrepo was very good today, and I'd probably say the best player overall, the player of the day, in my opinion, was Elijah Arroyo, which is the tight end from Miami. He had a heck of a day. And then the last person I had was Dorian Strong, the Virginia Tech corner, tall, lengthy guy, really good hip mobility, was able to jam some guys up at the line of scrimmage, and then stay in phase to limit that. So those were my picks.
Yeah, I echo the Taylor Elgersma hype, big arm, lively cadence as well. Got a couple jumps on the D line, and
very good measurables too. Yeah. Very good measurables.
6'4", 3/8", 216, excellent size, and he
runs. He's a big dude. He's a big dude in person. He really is. He's a big dude. Not too big, because sometimes you see quarterbacks that are above 6'5" or 6'5" and up, and they just don't pan out to anything. He's 6'3" or so, right? 6'3" and something.
6'4" and 3/8".
Yeah. So really good height for a quarterback as well.
Yeah. And I will also say, in terms of running backs, because I was watching QBs, running backs, and linebackers mostly today. Ollie Gordon, Oklahoma State, has some good size. He's about 6'1", 220, and doesn't move like it, though. He's pretty shifty in the open field, has the long range speed as well to hit the home runs like we've been seeing Saquon. One negative guy I'll put out there is Donovan Edwards. The hips looked a little tight. Looks like kind of a traditional Michigan back, one cut runner. Doesn't really do a lot of shiftiness at the line and trying to find a hole. He just sees a hole and goes. But that's why I told Rob, I was like, it's funny that he's a Michigan back because
I agree with that.
It seems like he's a Harbaugh guy, and obviously Harbaugh coached him. So
I also feel like Dylan Gabriel didn't have his best day. I feel like maybe it was just a today thing. I think he's better than what he showed today. He is very small in person. He really is, like, compared to everybody else, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, he's on the smaller side, which, like I was telling Rusty earlier, it's more of a preference rather than like a good or bad thing. I feel like when you get, he's like 5'10" and change. He came in at, so it's a more of a preference thing. It depends what organization wants to take a shot on him and that type of stuff. So.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel also a little bit of a critique from me was rolling to the right, non-dominant side. Looked a little tight in the hips, trying to get his hips torqued around there to get the throw off. But also the other quarterback there, Tyler Schuff, wasn't an impressive day by any means. Looks like a classic pocket passer and doesn't have a ton of movement there. But yeah. Just one other guy I saw today, Aeneas from Virginia
Peebles.
Tech, defensive tackle. He had a couple of great plays in the backfield, just eating up the run game there. Wasn't that impressive in pass rush snaps, but I didn't watch a ton. I just saw the two big standout run stops that he had today.
Yeah, shout out to Virginia Tech. They had a couple pretty good prospects at the Senior Bowl today. There's a wide receiver
one that
too.
I didn't even talk about, Bashal Tootin, the running back.
Oh yeah,
he's got some speed.
He played pretty well today. I was thinking about their tall receiver. Let me look at his name.
Well, they got Jalen Lane. I know that at wide receiver. They also have a tight end, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's flip to the American side here.
Yes, let's do it.
In terms of quarterbacks, so they have Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Riley Leonard, Seth Hennigan there. Well, let's just start out. The first thing was a consensus around the stadium and on the field. It was a lifeless practice for most of the day on the American squad. And I talked to someone today. It was an interesting coaching decision by Bubba Ventrone, the Browns special teams coordinator, who's the American head coach, not to have music.
I realized that. Good point.
The national team played music throughout the practice. I thought it kept the players energized. But yeah, there was no music the entire American team practice, and I thought that kind of quelled it for the American squad.
Yeah, you want to foster a culture where these players can enjoy themselves. Obviously, the business side's obviously the most important. That's why they're all here to get drafted and make a name for themselves and all that. But for them to stay loose will allow these players to play at their best. I also felt like there was a team period where I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but I felt like everybody was slow. Even like Jalen Milroe's mental processing was like extremely slow. And I'm like, okay, I know it may not be the best in the world, but I know for sure it's not that slow. I know for sure it's not. So do you remember that team period before they went on to 7-on-7? They went back to team and they ramped it up. But there was just one team period. Maybe they were just kind of feeling each other out. But I felt like it was just interesting to see because I was trying, grade some players and do that type of stuff. And I didn't know what to get out of it, to be honest.
And I think it was also something coming into the Senior Bowl that people I heard had mentioned the lack of talent at the Senior Bowl for the wide receiver position. There's not really any top end wide receivers here other than the two wide receivers from Iowa State, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel.
Well, Restrepo was fantastic.
Right. I love Xavier Restrepo.
There was a couple pretty good guys there.
But coming into the Senior Bowl, that was a comment that I had heard from multiple people that there wasn't really a first-round receiver. We don't have Tetairoa McMillan here. Travis Hunter is not here either.
That's true.
There wasn't a lot of top-end receiver talent. And I thought you saw that today on the American practice. Very little separation. I don't know if that was more of the talent on the defensive back side, but the wide receivers really struggled most of the day to get separation on the American team practice.
Yeah, and going into that, I guess, talk about some of my winners that I had. I'll start with the corners because, we are talking about that right now. I loved Harrison Maxwell today of Kentucky. Another tall, lengthy guy. I thought he played very well today. He was great in coverage. He even dove for a play, and he was kind of out of phase. And because of his length, he knocked the ball out of the receiver's hands before he could catch it. It was really his athletic ability really showed today. So that's just the one that I would mention that had the biggest impact.
Well, and I'll even go back to the national team. A guy I didn't watch a ton, but I saw make a couple of great plays was a guy that I had heard been talked about as a potential riser into the top 20. It was Florida State corner Azariah Thomas had an excellent day on his side there. But yeah, in terms of the quarterbacks, I wasn't impressed a ton by any of the four in the American squad.
I wouldn't say I was necessarily completely unimpressed with Riley Leonard and Hennigan. I wasn't unimpressed with them. I did expect more from Dart, and I did expect more from Milroe today. But, Riley Leonard just came off of a national championship run. And then Hennigan, I didn't think he played bad at all. That's my comments on the QB. I feel like I need to see more tomorrow before I can say, yes, this guy's legit or no, he's not. I feel like I need more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Riley Leonard, I saw good ball placement most of the day. Jalen Milroe, I was waiting. I was waiting to see him just rip a dart across the middle of the field, and I only saw one opportunity. They ran 4 verticals. He had Gunnar Helm out of Texas, the tight end, up the seam that was open, and unfortunately Milroe couldn't get the ball off because it was a team drill, and so they had pressure up the middle that he couldn't get the ball off anywhere. So,
which goes back to the mental processing note that I previously mentioned.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, he just had to wait for to clear the linebacker, which was
that
tough.
too. But
in terms of running backs, Marcus Yarns.
Yep.
Looks
Marcus
like he's
Yarns.
the best. He's the best route runner of all the running backs at the Senior Bowl. It looks like from
No
just
doubt.
one day. I mean, he burned every single linebacker he went against in one-on-ones, and especially I felt bad for McLeod out of Auburn. He got his ankles broke a couple times by Marcus Yarns today.
And I think Travis Etienne. Oh, wait, yeah,
Trevor Etienne.
You know what I meant. Trevor
Yes.
Etienne
He was very good
out of
as well.
Georgia was as advertised today. I thought he played very well too. I don't think he had to do anything fancy today. I think he just kind of went through what he usually does, and was able to make some good cuts and all that type of stuff too.
He ran an excellent wheel route on the one pass pattern.
Okay.
Although it was not a good start for the linebackers. I was talking with a couple guys in the stands. We were like, dude, what are these these linebackers are flat-footed all day. Like they get wrecked by these running backs in pass coverage. But they kind of stepped it up the second time they went one-on-ones. I thought especially Smile Munden was impressive in coverage the second time around in one-on-ones against running backs. He did well against his Georgia teammate Trevor Etienne a couple times. But yeah, the linebackers improved, I thought, the second time around there. I don't think I really had anything in terms of linebackers. Oh, except for McLeod. I think it's Jalen McLeod.
Yeah,
I think is his first name, but he looks like a bigger, bulkier type of guy, not really suited for coverage. I think he's probably a 1-2 guy, 1-2 down kind of linebacker, flat-footed on the coverages mostly.
Yeah, a linebacker that I had was Eugene Asante out of Auburn. I mean, we've seen how consistent he was, in play throughout the season, but just see him on the field, how smooth he was. I felt like he was the smoothest linebacker of them all. And I was on the field at the end of the practice, and I'm just listening to him, answer these questions from other people and stuff. And though how articulate he is and how respectful he is, I even got a chance to talk to him for a couple minutes. Really, really good high character guy too.
Moving into, that was all the positions that I had really looked at. But then I also had a couple of guys that I noted just that popped just randomly that I saw. Tennessee interior D-line, Omar Norman Lott was excellent in his get off. Jumped 2 snaps in a row, got tackles for loss, and then had one impressive pass rush rep that I saw as well. Just quickness off the snap. I did not really know a ton about him coming in, but number 55 stood out today for me. And then Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M guy that I was mentioning earlier, he had a great bull rush on the one rep I saw against a highly touted guy. Jonas Savaiinea, the tackle out of Arizona, is rated pretty highly by a lot of people, and Shamar Stewart put him on his butt.
Yeah, another guy that I like that's also Texas A&M. I looked at the edges a lot today. The edge rushers. I like Nick Scourton a lot today, Texas A&M. Very, very explosive, powerful edge. And then also Jared Ivey, of course, from Ole Miss. He also, I thought, had a very good day. And then a couple other guys that I had that I mentioned as well. 2 wide receivers, Ty Felton of Maryland had a very good day, and so did Brew McCoy of Tennessee. They both, I thought, had 2 of the best days out of all the receivers today. And then
before you go to your O-line guys, I want to end it on a positive. So I'm going to go on a negative side before you do your positive O-line guys.
Go for it.
So there's only one negative I saw O-line wise. I'm blanking on his first name. Brown from Kansas, the tackle.
Okay.
Evan Brown, I think it is.
Let me take a look. I have it here. Offensive line, Brown. Logan Brown, the tackle.
Not good today. He had multiple false starts. He had a holding penalty as well.
He did. I saw the full story.
Yeah, it just wasn't a good day for Logan Brown out of Kansas. On a day that the other Kansas players played pretty well. Devin Neal, the running back, had a solid day.
All the running backs played well, just in general.
Yeah.
The two offensive linemen that I got really excited about today were the LSU duo of Garrett Dillinger and Miles Frazier. I mean, especially Miles Frazier, his foot quickness is ridiculously good. It's in a very good category. No doubt about it. Those two worked really well together. I mean, as they should. They came from the same school, but just even in general, I thought they both performed well today.
All right, and that's all we got for Senior Bowl day one. There, yeah. Make sure you continue to keep up with us on Instagram. We'll do probably do a breakdown on Instagram Live after every practice.
That's fine.
Since we don't have a show again until Friday. And then we'll kind of recap the week on Friday, as that is my last day here. Rob will be here for the game on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
We'll probably get your thoughts if you're available on the Monday show next week.
Yeah, maybe, as long as some school stuff doesn't pop up, I should be okay for that.
But yeah, speaking of Super Bowl, that's what we'll be doing next week. Next week is Super Bowl week, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl licks, as Rob Gronkowski likes to say. But yeah, Monday, obviously we're gonna preview the game in its entirety on the Friday show. That's what we're gonna do there. But on Monday, though, we're gonna do what we usually do: Super Bowl X Factors. Jimmy hit on his last year. The team didn't end up winning, but his boys.
I hit on both though. Karlaftis for Chiefs and Jennings for 49ers. Both of them were awesome.
Yeah. And we'll also do our matchup breakdown where we pick who we think has the edge in things like coaching and position guys and quarterback and everything like that. So that's what we will do on Monday. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast and Instagram at X, FAA_bets on X as well. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. And we will see y'all back for Senior Bowl Day 2 on Instagram Live tomorrow.
See ya.